in the part 2 of this tutorial, this is where we take a look at animating all the layers so that we get a nice satellite navigation animation within After Effects. So yeah, let's get working on it again. First, we're going to move our adjustment layer 1 so that it's just above our Istanbul layer, and then select the adjustment layer and then say edit duplicate, because we are going to need it later. For now, we can simply move it ahead of time. We're going to use it later, as we said. Let's rename it by pressing enter and then say adjustment layer 2. Okay, and of course, since it's 2, we just need to move it below the first one. And then after that, we need to bring our Congo layer that we created, place it above adjustment layer number 1. Yeah, as you can see, yeah, it's gonna be used also. Press S on the keyboard to bring down its scale. Okay, let's position it anywhere for now. So let's begin the animation process. So we are at the beginning of our composition. So what happens is that, as you saw, we turned all the layers into 3D layers. Also, this one must also be a 3D layer. And then we need to bring also our GPS layer. Or let's say we're gonna add him later. Okay. So yeah, we've done all this. Let's see. Okay, how about we bring him now? Yeah, let's bring up the GPS layer now. Put him up there on the composition and then change his transfer mode. Sorry, by going to layer, blending mode, screen. So now he appears as if he's also part of the scene. Press S on the keyboard, then bring down its settings until you position him somewhere there at the corner. And if we were ever to preview this right now, sorry, yeah, if we ever wanted to scrub through an animation now, you can see how by scrubbing through our animation, the numbers are already automatically being generated, like random numbers every time. See, random numbers being generated all the time. So let's our animation process begin. We go to the beginning of our composition and then select the sat nav layer, press P on the keyboard and then click on the stopwatch for its position. And then we begin by starting it from somewhere here in the middle of the sea, somewhere there. Yes, so that it looks like it's starting out of nowhere. Before we continue any further, we need a camera. So we go to layer, new camera, because without the camera we can't really animate anything. So we click OK. So the camera will allow us to zoom in, like by selecting the track Z camera tool, we can easily zoom in into our layers like that. Let's undo that for now. Okay, so select our satellite navigation and then let's move to okay, you know what, we don't want it to start there in the middle of nowhere. Let's start it from somewhere in one of these islands. I think it's more exciting like that. Yeah, so it will start from that particular point. As you can see, when we move the first satellite navigation layer, it also moves the sat nav double layer, because this layer is parented to that one. So wherever the first one goes, the other can only follow. So it starts there, and then after 2 seconds or so, our layer will move into, or rather it will move inland to somewhere there, and then after almost half of a second, still on its search for the city of Kinshasa in our map, our satellite will move there, and then we continue. As we continue further, it's still searching, and its search will bring it somewhere up there. And yep, it still won't be done. Still searching. Yeah, going there. I hope we won't be sued by NASA, because of the fact that we are using satellite navigation tools without paying them for the rights to use that feature. So, and then after that, it will find its location somewhere there at an airport. Let's zoom in a bit. Yeah, somewhere here at this particular airport location on the map. Yeah. When it gets here at this point, we want a satellite, no, a radio wave to beam up the position, like telling us yes, 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 like you know the old telegrams used to go like toot, 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 to tell us that the direction or the point has been found on the map. So to create that, we go to Layer, New, Solid. Let's call it Radio. Okay, it's gonna contain our waves there, and then we go to Effects, Generate Radio Waves. And then, yeah, we're going to change the stroke color to something light green in color. Okay? To beat a bit faster. So we bring down the wave motion and change the frequency to 2 so that it sort of beats faster. And then the lifespan, in other words, how many seconds will this radio beat last? We say 3. Okay? And then we move it to the center. Let's not forget to make him also a 3D layer. So let's position him exactly at the center, just where the beat will be emitted from. And he will have to start immediately after the position has been found to somewhere there where the satellite navigation reaches its location. So let's select the radio and then bring or rather squash down its length so that it starts exactly there. And since we said it should last only 3 seconds, we want it to beat for that particular length of time, like 2 seconds or so. And then we are going to trim it down a bit like that. So basically, if we were to preview this animation, this is what happens right now. Our satellite tries to find its way, it searches around, and then boom, as soon as it finds, it emits radio frequencies to tell our search officers that yes, the location has been found. Okay, so of course we need to tell our camera to watch all this action. So we bring down the camera's settings. Let's move to this particular point in time, just before the wave or rather the beam hits the wave. So we bring down the transform and then bring down the position and point of interest, and then click to create keyframes for those, and then we move it to just when it hits there. Let's zoom in further into our time. So basically when it gets there, somewhere there. So this is the part where we move into our scene by using the camera's rotation and scaling tools. And let's position it somewhere more or less not so far away from the middle of our scene. So when we preview what we just did, that's what we get. The camera zooms in just at the moment when the target is hit. Nice stuff. Like it gets there and poop. Yeah, the camera begins to zoom in right there. Okay. If we want, we may just want to extend the length of the beat rather to something like that. Make it longer so that it takes a bit of some time to get there, and then it zooms into it. And then as the camera is zooming into it, we select our adjustment layer 1, go to its box blur settings, and then change the blur dimension to vertical, and then click on the stopwatch for the blur radius. Select our adjustment layer once more, and then click U on the keyboard, and then let's move it to somewhere as the camera zooms into it. And then we are going to change the blur's values to something a bit higher. In other words, something like 23. There we go. So as the camera tries to zoom into the scene of course blurs out because we want to create the effect of zooming in taking place. And of course once it gets there, we then bring the blur radius to 0. Perfect stuff. Again, if you want, we can always click on that button there to give us more space to zoom into, and then you can always bring down that particular keyframe closer so that it zooms in like that, and this one much more closer. Again 23. So it will start like that and then get there and then zoom in by first blurring and then gets to normal again. And then once more we go to that particular point in time, around almost 6.5 seconds. We click on the tint and then click on the stopwatch for amount to tint, okay? And then just press U on the keyboard for the adjustment layer so that we get access to all the keyframes. And then simply move just a bit ahead of time, like 3 frames later, and then change the amount to tint to 100. Sorry. Or rather, let's bring the tint settings. I don't know if they were at the end. There we go. Yeah, so we bring down the tint as you move it from where it was so that it can be the last effect in the effect column, so that now we get this red tinted image. So first it was red and then the image gets tinted. As the camera zooms in, it turns into red to zoom into the scene, okay? Once you've done that, this is a part now where the satellite navigation columns or layers need to move, okay? So we select the sat nav double button and then press P on the keyboard to bring up its position settings. Click on the stopwatch for its position, and then as we zoom in, now here they're going to go their own way. So select the satellite navigation layer, and then we are going to move it on the X-axis and the Y-axis so that now it's going out of the scene. Select the sat nav double layer and then move it on the X. As you can see, we are separating them right now so that they can each go their own ways. And finally move it completely out of the scene so that it's no more viewed. And then select once more the satellite navigation layer, bring it out of the scene also, like that. So basically this is what we have. Before we preview what we have, we might want to move the keyframes a bit. So we might just want to move them a bit forward in time, so it gives it more time to zoom in and then split like that. Or as they get like that, we might want to select these 2 keyframes and then move them a bit ahead of time. So let's preview this. When we preview this is what we get so far. Point found, radio waves, but it's a bit too quick. So as it gets there, we want to give it some time before the radios go off. So we select our radio layer and then move them a bit ahead of time so that we give it time to settle. And before it even divides, also we move its keyframes ahead of time. Sorry, Control Z. Let's move them a bit like that. So this is what happens. The radio, or rather the satellite navigation point reaches where it's supposed to be, and then the radios must go off after it has settled. So it settles like that, select our 2 keyframes and then click on add again. So this should give us 2 extra keyframes to work with, so that the layer sort of pauses before splitting, okay? So it will settle like that, and then the radios can go off. The radios go off. For the radios to go off, again, we need to select our 2 keyframes there, move them a bit ahead of time. so that the radios go off whilst the layer is still, or the point of focus is still there. So basically it comes like this, finds its point, radio goes off, and then it's played. Okay, that's the kind of thing we want to see. So let's preview this once more. Maybe this time we got it right. Okay, so when we preview, these are the results we get. The camera zooms into the scene. I think the camera zooms in too soon. So this is what should happen. Before the camera zooms in, let's select our camera layer. So we need to move its positions. So basically it will happen like this. It gets there before it even sets off like that. So it will get there. Yeah, so basically the point of focus will come, reach its target, begin to emit. And then these guys, I really think they should split later. Yeah, a bit ahead of time. So basically, yeah, we have this cool point of focus coming, strikes the point. As soon as it gets there, radio goes off. We zoom into the scene. Again, let's bring these two keyframes here closer to each other. Yeah. And then, as this is happening, we select our Congo layer, and then we need to place it just as soon as the first beam begins to go off, like right there. So we need to squash down the Congo layer to start appearing from there. Yeah, now let's move him so that it can be placed right there in our scene. And then just make sure that there's also a 3D layer. There we go. There we go. Don't worry if your PC is getting a bit wary. It's because it's calculating quite a bit of stuff right now. There we go. And then we just need to trim it down on this side. And then let's see. Let's just work on its timing. So after the beats go off, yeah, we want it to appear from somewhere there. So let's move him. Press T on the keyboard, click on the opacity. Let's zoom in further. Let's move that keyframe a bit ahead of time. Change the, or rather, click on this button here which expands the properties. Enter 0 for the starting opacity so that it sort of fades into the scene. And then a few seconds later, click on the add keyframe button. Move a bit ahead of time and then enter 0. Okay, like that. Okay, so previewing this gives us these results. Okay, the point gets there, boom, airport found, zoom, and then the two lines split, and then the words DR Congo appear as a label of the country we are in. There we go. Now after that has happened, we need that layer which will appear as if it's washing the scene. It's called the transition layer that we created in part 1 of this tutorial. If you haven't seen that tutorial, please check it out now. Okay, it's available on the site as we speak. So yeah, once that is done, we move a bit ahead of time, and then we tell or let's extend the length of our Congo layer to something a bit further. Let's move also the keyframes. Then select the transition layer and then squash it down, or there it is already. Perfect. So what will happen is that this layer, with the layer selected, press P on the keyboard to bring up its settings, and then click on the stopwatch for the position. Let's try to move it so that it appears within the scene. Select it. Let's try to press Ctrl Alt F on the keyboard so that it fits into the composition. Oh, yeah. Where is it, I wonder? The transition layer. Oh, there it is. Okay. Let's try to select the keyframe that we just get for the position. Let's delete it for now. The keyframe, and then move the position towards more or less the left hand side of the screen on the X axis, so that it starts from nowhere. Yeah, like that. Let's create a keyframe for that. Move it a bit at the beginning, and then let's move ahead in time just before it disappears, and let's move its X value. As you can see, it will come and then sort of wash out our scene like that. Okay, perfect. Move him really out of the scene. So and then in between the keyframes, you simply need to move them further apart like that. So basically, after the image has been zoomed into, this particular layer will come and wash out the scene as if it was a radio wave, or as if it was a radar wave or something. We might need to change its start color and end colors positions like that. Yeah, much better, much better. Okay. Then as soon as that is done, we move forward in time. After that particular layer has disappeared, we select our adjustment layer, the first one. We are going to move him so that it disappears from our scene. Press P to bring up the position. Click on the stopwatch for the position. And then select our Istanbul layer, and then we are going to also to manipulate its position and so forth. So press P also and click on the stopwatch for the position. Yeah. So, and then with the layer still selected, we go to motion. We are going to add motion tile by going to Effect, Stylize, Motion. Sorry, not Mosaic. Effect, Stylize, Motion Tile. Change the output width to 1070. Press OK. So this is what will happen at around this particular point in the tutorial, in the animation rather. We are going to select adjustment layer 1 and then move him completely out of the scene along its x-axis. So as you can see, the red outline is leaving the scene completely now until it's completely out of the scene. And then with our Istanbul layer selected, we are simply going to move him also. Basically, we are simply moving a duplicate of the layer that we had earlier. Let's see. Keep moving in, keep moving. Yeah, until somewhere, I think somewhere there. That should do. Minus 640 in my case. And then we are going to select the adjustment layer 2 and then simply bring him back onto the top of the Istanbul layer. So that right now, basically this is what takes place. Let's zoom in a bit. the red layer washes away, taking with it the previous Istanbul layer, and then only to be replaced with the new layer. Okay, still with the settings dark blue as we had earlier. Okay, our superstars will be back now. Our superstars being our satellite navigation tools. Select one of them somewhere on there. Select one of them and then press P on the keyboard. Click to add a keyframe for it, and then also the sat nav. No, let's leave the second one for now alone. And then move a bit ahead in time, and then select our satellite navigation layer, and then let's move him back into the scene by making him start from somewhere here. Yeah, this time in the middle of the sea completely. But he needs his friend, right? So we move a bit ahead in time. Select the second one. Press P also to bring up its position. And then somewhere here, let's bring him down. As you can see, he has run out of our composition, so we simply bring him back along the x-axis to join back with its parent layer. Let's move its parent layer a bit higher, somewhere in the middle of nowhere. Select the second one, and then move him along the z-axis. Now our aim is to position him exactly with the satellite navigation layer, so that they're exactly at the same point. Like come on. Yeah, I think we've got it right there. And then move him a bit still along the x-axis to the right. There we go. Yeah, I think we've done them justice there. So now they're back into being one thing again. So basically they were separated until they come back to join hands again. Okay, now they're gonna look for the next point, which is the city of Kinshasa. Select our satellite navigation layer, move a bit ahead in time, and then he's gonna begin his search again. So he's gonna go there to the bottom of the sea, somewhere there. Again, thanks to parenting, both navigation layers are moving together. So at this time it will move here, and then a bit further in time it will decide to go up there, as if it was lost. Yeah, somewhere up there. And then he's really trying to find where in the world is that famous city, the capital of the Democratic Republic of Congo. After that, he's going there, way far. And then a bit forward in time, it will come down a bit, and then finally it will find its destination, which is somewhere there. No, just at the entrance of the harbor there. There we go. So exactly at that point in time, we need to duplicate our radio layer by selecting and then going to edit, duplicate, and then let's move this particular second radio exactly to that point in time. Okay, we're running out of composition space, so let's change the composition settings by telling it to be maybe 40 seconds. Press enter. Yeah, so our radio will emit immediately as soon as a point is found, but of course we need to change its position so that it's also together with our satellite navigation center. So let's move him. Up, there we go, more or less. You might want to, if you're interested, of course, you might want to increase the strokes size, but it's not that important. So once more, once it finds that position, we move forward in time. We extend the length of the camera. So move further in time. Actually, let's go back around here. Press or rather bring down our camera's keyframes are pressing U, and then click on the two stopwatches to add keyframes for the camera's position. And then somewhere here, let's again extend the length of our GPS. Okay, let's go back to our GPS composition. It has run out of keyframes also. Composition settings, let's tell them also to be 40 seconds. Go back to our Congo layer, no sorry, Istanbul layer. Yeah, and then somewhere here, yeah, for the GPS, we want him to keep counting, remember? Where are they? Oh yeah, okay, we need to extend once more the length of these friends of ours. The grid also. Basically everything's length must be increased so that they last throughout until the end. Let's go back to our satellite navigation composition also. Change its settings to 40. Go back to our Istanbul layer once more. As you saw, we increase the durations. Let's go back to our GPS layer. It seems, there we go, the layers length was truncated, so we select all the layers and we simply increase them like that. Go back to the Istanbul layer. This is how you fix certain problems in After Effects, by the way. So we are back in there. So once the location has been found, the camera needs to zoom into them. Where are our two satellite navigation layers? Also here, things have been cut out. Select everything and simply move them like that. This should be back now. So once we've done that, in other words, once the location has been found, what needs to happen is that our camera needs to zoom into the city, of course. So we select the camera zooming tool, or rather the camera moving tool. We don't want it to zoom so badly that it cuts out some of our footage. So please be careful with that. So we simply want to move it to somewhere like that. Yeah, like that. And then, as it appears there, this is the part where the Kinshasa layer decides to pop up. Let's also make him a 3D layer. Let's move him so that it starts off just at the same time as when the point of interest or the focus point is found. Press S to bring up its scaling information, scale it down. Yeah, and yeah, scale it down a bit. Then yeah, sorry, press Ctrl Z. We are unfortunately manipulating the camera there. Select the Kinshasa layer and then move it so that it's more or less at the point where the city was found, like that. Okay, and then let's go further with this. Let's just position him properly, and then let's just see if its timing is correct. So the camera will come like this. Once it finds it there, we want it to appear there. Press T on the keyboard to bring up its opacity. Click on the stopwatch for the opacity. Move the first keyframe ahead and then enter 0 for the beginning one. Once more, move him a bit behind in time so that it pops up as soon as the point is found. There we go. Okay, and then again, this particular layer, just when it gets here, okay, when it's here, select its tint value. Of course, once more we need to bring down the tint to be the last effect. Click on the box blur settings. Click on the stopwatch for the box blur and the tint amount to tint value. Select the layer and then press U on the keyboard. Move ahead in time. Okay, we want to increase the blur radius to 23. Again, vertical. And then the tint amount to 100. And then just a bit further ahead in time, now we can bring down the settings of the blur radius to 0. And yeah, the tint amount to 0 also. Yeah, and then finally we select our transition layer so I can wipe things out again. Press Ctrl D on the keyboard to duplicate it, and then simply move it ahead in time so that it will come and wipe out this particular layers of ours once more. And then with that layer selected, press Ctrl Alt R so that it reverses it. In other words, so that now the layer will come from the right hand side and wipe our screen. Okay, so let's preview this for the last time. Before the last previewing, our navigation layers need to go their own ways again. So please select the navigation layer and then click on the stopwatch for its position, and then move a bit ahead in time. Then click on the stopwatch also for the second one's position, and then bring down the second navigation layer's position so that once more it disappears completely, and then the first navigation layer also goes out of the scene completely. More or less like that. The second one again, since it's parented, we always need to move him separately so that now we once more have a clean scene. Okay, so there you have it. We managed to complete our tutorial. I know it was a long one, but I believe your police department would be really proud of you to have helped them find your city's most wanted criminal. So this is how you will trace him, using After Effects to recreate the satellite navigation tool to find and destroy the enemy. Oh yeah, until next time. Are you an aspiring artist? Do you want to discover some of After Effects' most advanced features? Do you really want to learn After Effects the way an artist, or rather the way artists from all over the world actually learn it? Well, there is a product for you to buy, Adobe After Effects Unmatched. With it, we cover 10 amazing video tutorials to teach you some of the advanced features and beginner level kind of features that are covered in this amazing software tool that we have, Adobe After Effects. So yeah, you can simply check it out by going to our online store or checking out our products page, in which we describe in full detail how this great DVD is going to help you, yes you, to boost your abilities so that you too can achieve amazing creative works like we show you here on our great website, Henrythejedi.com. Trust me, you won't regret it. It's actually better than going to college, considering the knowledge you are going to learn from it. Seriously. So please guys, you want to boost your levels of intelligence with After Effects? You want to be more creative? You want to achieve more without breaking your leg? Well, After Effects Unmatched is there for you from www.henrythejedi.com. So please guys, check it out. And oh yeah, do you want to advertise something that you do? Do you want to advertise a service that you deliver? Maybe you just want to tell the whole world how good you are with your works. Well, you can always advertise with us today by going to henrythejedi.com/advertise, or simply click on our advertise banner there on all our main pages so that you can see the info that we provide, so that you can also advertise with us today at henrythejedi.com, so that you can reach a broader audience with the product and services that you deliver. So once more, thank you for watching our free video tutorial of today, and I hope you really enjoyed it. And yeah, if you really want once more power, more effectiveness, more time saving, well, Adobe After Effects Unmatched is there for you. So if you haven't got your copy yet, well, I can only ask you one question: what in the world are you waiting for? Once more, this was your friend Henry Mbata from henrythejedi.com, and goodbye.